Yo, bro, today we're gonna talk about how to not waste your time meditating. So, you may see this and think that I'm talking about meditation as being something that isn't effective and is basically time waste. No, instead, what this is gonna be about is I'm gonna try to explain to you how I find my meditation to be the most useful because I have had approximately 500 meditation sessions. So, I'm still quite a beginner at this, but I've had quite a few. Some of them ranging from 3 minutes, others ranging up to an hour. And I'm gonna try to teach you in this video and kind of teach myself also and remind myself of all the methods that I've used to make my meditation sessions effective. Because a lot of the time, they're basically a waste of time. So, what is meditation? So, for those of you who don't know, meditation is the process of trying to focus here. So, say this is your breath, you're trying to focus on a point, whatever that may be. So, that may be your breath, that may be looking at an object, that may be focusing on the feelings of sitting down, that may be the sensations of the wind, whatever that may be. You focus on a point, something very specific. Then your focus drifts away and slips away. Now you're focusing on this thing. Now, this thing here, this fuzzy mess, may be a thought, maybe a fantasy, maybe stress, rumination, basically anything that will take you away from this point, our focal point where we're trying to focus. So what I usually do is I try to focus on the breath. So say you start, you close your eyes and go back to breathing. So I'm just focusing on breathing continuously. And I'll be meditating, and then after say 2 seconds, quite frankly, I'll lose my focus and I'll start thinking of something else. This then I have to go back to realizing, oh, I've lost my focus. So you'll go to point three. Oh, I've lost my focus. I'm focusing on this instead of this. And then you just bring back your attention. So to me, it's this little triangle of focus of I'm focused on something, say my breathing. I start thinking of a thought. Oh, I have to do a homework later. I notice I'm thinking about homework instead of breathing. So I go back to breathing. That is the little, say, pyramid of meditation of how you focus on. Because a lot of people are thinking, okay, I will sit here and I will focus on just breathing. Now, that's great, but you're going to be wasting your time doing that. Because you have to realize that with meditation, the whole process is I'm going to lose my focus and then I need to bring it back. This uphill battle, the specific reason why I kind of drew it like this is the difficult part. Slipping away into another thought is so easy and so natural for your brain. But going back to the breath, this struggle here, that is what's going to build the skill of mindfulness. Mindfulness is kind of the thing that you're trying to level up from meditating. So you start here, you can't focus on anything, someone's speaking to you, you're completely lost. Now, what you're trying to do is by practicing going up and up and up and up through the struggle of focusing again, is that eventually you're increasing your mindfulness skill. And the benefit of mindfulness is infinite. I'll talk about that a little bit later. But here I'm just trying to keep a concise video of not really the benefits of meditation, more about how to not waste your time meditating. So the way that you don't waste your time meditating lie on basically three key things. Firstly, and very, very, very importantly, is I would recommend for basically all beginners. Even me, I would consider myself a beginner, and I've been meditating for 2 years and have done about 500 sessions. And all it is having a guided meditation. So having a guided meditation is someone that's going to be talking to you and saying, back to the breath, back to the breath, back to the breath. I use Medita for this because I think they have some, fantastic coaches, and it's like little 5 minute videos, or you can put 10 minute videos or 20 or whatever. And all it is you're going to be sitting there, they tell you focus on your breath. Let's run a tiny little meditation session here together so you kind of get the grasp of it. So say close your eyes, sit comfortably, back straight, and then you take one deep breath. And then you just have to focus on getting more and more breaths in, and just try focus as best as you can on the feelings and sensations of breathing. And now I thought of something else. And now I have to remind myself to go back to this. But the benefit of having someone that will basically narrate you and guide you through it is that a lot of the time, especially when you're a beginner, when you're in this fuzzy state, it's very difficult to actually notice you're here and get out of it. Okay, so what this does is it kind of cuts this process because it tells you a lot of the time, oh, if you have a thought, go back to focusing on your breath. That is the kind of the magic formula in it that without the guided meditation, it's very problematic. Try Medito, any app will work. Download it, 5 minute meditation, fantastic. Whatever that may be, try a guided one. So, the second point is I would actually recommend meditating outside. So, if you can't do specifically outside, what I did right before this video actually is I was sitting there, had my window fully open, it's raining outside, I could feel the wind coming in, and I just sat there and I meditated like that. What I found is, especially if you meditate fully outside, so the best meditation sessions I've ever had were all outside and all narrated. So that's the second point, is the fact that you're outside. I don't know what it is, but kind of you feel a lot more relaxed, you feel a lot more at presence with everything around you. You don't feel kind of disconnected as much as if you're in your room. And that really helps me stay a lot more focused and have a far deeper level of meditation. Obviously, I'm not explaining it perfectly because, this is individual and explaining mindfulness is very difficult, but meditate, guided meditation, meditate outside. And thirdly and importantly, and this is something I have to remember to do, is meditate for longer periods of time. So if you start and then you do 3 minutes, right, that's great. And then after, say, a week, you can build up to 5 minutes. Great. Then, say, after 2 weeks, you go to 7 minutes. Right. However, after a while, obviously, you can't really just keep increasing this. What's going to happen in 2 months? You're going to be meditating for 20 minutes at a time, hopefully, but very unlikely, because we're trying to build a very consistent habit. What I would recommend is find a time. Don't focus on increasing the time constantly. Find the time that challenges you. So for me right now, that's give or take about 15 minutes. If I sit and do a 5 minute meditation, at the end of it, I don't feel a thing. At the end of the 15-minute meditation, it's quite troublesome and difficult for me to get into and really try to stay focused the whole way through. But this means that there's far more of these, far more scaling up back to focus. And this is what's going to get me the XP of increasing my mindfulness skill. So, how to start meditating today. I've recapped this earlier, but I'll very quickly recap it now. App Store, Play Store, whatever. Medito is my app of choice, whatever it may be. Focus on narrating meditation. Doing timed meditation, or especially untimed meditations, where people sit and think, yeah, I'll meditate for a bit, or I'll sit and with no sound, I will focus on doing this by myself. I've been meditating for 2 years and I can't consistently do this by myself. So I would really, really urge you to try focus on narrated meditation. Select any time that may be, and just try focus on building a consistent habit. If you can meditate for 30 seconds consistently, and that's your challenging level, do that. Eventually you'll be able to do 3 minutes, 5 minutes, whatever that may be. Just make it a consistent habit, and I think that will be very beneficial for you. So the long-term effects of meditating, as I said, I still think of myself as a beginner with this. Obviously, I hope to one day reach the mindfulness of monks and whatnot, but I doubt I ever will. Hopefully, right? But the long-term effects, so I would say, a few months here, it depends on how long you meditate, of course, like during the sessions, like the minutes of meditation you've done. I think I've done about 300. Probably less, actually, sorry. 300 is a bit much. I've done about 200. The benefits of meditating is the fact that you build this mindfulness. And the reason this has positive effects on your mental health is obviously in the short term, you take little breaks from your quite, negative thinking patterns or negative day. And that's a very nice feeling. It's a very beautiful feeling to take a little break from your thoughts and learn to focus on your breath. But the long-term effects of meditating is it stops overthinking, in my opinion at least, or at least it very much helps with it. So the benefits of it are you increase your mindfulness to a point that whenever you lose your focus, whenever you slip down the slope, you very quickly realize that. So you don't even need to be meditating, right? You can be walking outside and then you realize, oh, I'm not focused. And you focus back on the present moment, the trees and whatever. You don't start going off in tangents about stress or something bad that's happened. And that's obviously incredibly impactful. I think with a lot of anxiety, it's kind of going down the rabbit hole of one anxious thought leads to another anxious thought, and then another one, another one, another one. Blah, 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 blah. Anxiety. Now, if you can get to this where you have a high level of meditation, a high level of mindfulness, should I say, that you can quickly realize losing focus and getting back to this, you really will not have the same issues of just going thought, slipping and slipping further down into anxiety or a negative mood. And as someone who has been an overthinker for a long time, this skill is life changing, truly incredible. And considering that you can only do this with like 5 minutes a day, 10 minutes a day, whatever, consistently, is revolutionary, right? So I truly recommend you start meditating. You may not get some instant effect, so it's not like gratitude journaling where 2 weeks in you can see massive effect. This will take some time, but even just the beauty of having 5 minutes of your day where you're relaxed and focused, leading up to the skill where you're constantly more focused, is a fantastic experience. Thank you, bro.